Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's dirty news from 1930s Gotham to 1960s New York and everywhere in between. We are also representing 1970s New York punk rock and 1990s East Bay punk, late 80s. Yeah, sorry. 1980s East Bay punk rock Operation Ivy shirts. Not coordinated, but both wearing our slightly faded black and white punk rock t-shirts tonight.
Great minds think alike, Mike. Great minds think alike.
Anyway, I'm one of your co-hosts, Mike Gibson. With me is always Steve. What's up, Steve?
Apparently a punk resurgence going into our show later this week, I guess.
Oh yeah. If anyone's gonna be in Philadelphia this Friday night, look for me and Steve in the sea of people going to see Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, and Rancid. Hell yeah.
Yes, I should be out of COVID protocol by then.
I really hope you are, my friend.
Yeah. I'm feeling fine, so that's nice, but
that's nice. That's good. Then, hey, you get those antibodies, so you don't have to worry about getting it at the show.
Exactly. It was all the master plan, Mike. It was all the master plan.
Yeah, perfect.
And by that, I mean completely not the master plan.
No, of course not. Of course not. I also had COVID a couple weeks ago, so I will also hopefully be in that antibody bubble, safe and ready to go. Very excited for our very busy weekend. And so that's Friday night, and we're driving home early Saturday morning. Saturday night, I will be at Trek Wars 2 at the Palace Theater, a nerdy burlesque show. I'll be selling and signing comics and giving people sneak previews of two books that I have in process right now. One of them called Crown of Bones, which is an idea of a local Syracuse burlesque dancer, Eerie Erotica, who hired me to write it. She'll be performing at this Trek Wars event. We'll be talking all about our upcoming Kickstarter and plans for the book at that show. Check it out. You get tickets available now. Trek Wars 2 at the Palace Theater, August 10th, coming up this Saturday. We're less than a week away from Trek Wars 2.
Still disappointed. Yes, I gotta miss that.
I know, man. Me too. It's such a fun time. And then the following weekend, Steve and I will be at AnchorCon up in Clayton, New York. 17th and 18th. We'll be doing the same thing we did here at Collectors Con, where Steve will be talking to people about podcasts and nerdy opinions, as will I. I will also be, again, signing and selling comics. Steve and I will also be hosting a panel, basically doing a live episode of this very show for the good people of AnchorCon. Not sure if we're going to record that and release it, or if it's just going to be like an in-house thing. Steve's nodding to the recording and releasing. So
we got the mic set up. We're good to go. I already thought this through. This is not my first rodeo, Mike.
I know it's not, but will that be this week's episode? So will we not do one Sunday night? We'll do one at AnchorCon, and that'll just be that week's episode?
To be determined?
To be determined.
Yeah.
Possibly depends on what news comes out when.
Right.
I'm not even sure which day we're doing our panel. Are we doing it Saturday or Sunday? We don't even really know. No clue. I also am doing a solo panel on comic book writing, which is very flattering to be asked, although I am a still relative newbie to the comic book writing game. They asked me to host a panel about it, or just, be interviewed about my process and how I got into it and stuff like that. So that'll be cool as well. So if you are listening to us in the North Country, or you're just going to happen to be up there, stop on by AnchorCon the 17th and 18th and say hi to Steve and I. This very podcast is sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, Camillus, New York. I haven't been there all week. I do not have a comic to review. I will be going this week because this week's my comic book pull week. All three of my pulls plus one I'm very excited about, which we'll talk about later in the show. We got a little bit of news to dive into tonight. A little bit of new news from this week. Not a ton of new news. People are still kind of reeling from the San Diego Comic-Con stuff, which we will be talking about because Steve has some opinions and wants to chime in on some of the stuff I talked about last week on my solo episode Gave you, if you haven't heard it, it was about a 30-minute solo episode. Me covering what was going on at San Diego Comic-Con, giving my opinions on certain things, which we're going to dive into at the end of this episode as well. Plus, the very end of this episode, we'll be doing a spoiler-filled review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Now that both of us have seen it, so if you have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine, you may want to tune out before the very end of this episode. We will, of course, let you know when that is about to happen. But first,
for the note, though. For the note,
okay.
COVID brain fog. I'll blame it on brain fog.
Sure, man. You do you.
You just knock everything over. You.
I just had to pick something up.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything's fine.
Why did you at your
Were you
post?
gonna say something?
No.
You were gonna say something.
Yeah, I think we've gone so far off the rails that I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Oh, okay. So should we talk about Star Wars then?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was. It was going to be a segue into Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Well, let's segue it then.
I was going to say your post or your episode last week was a solo episode, not an episode about Solo, although you probably could have done that.
I definitely could have, and maybe someday will.
Indeed.
Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. We got, after getting no new Star Wars news at San Diego Comic-Con, we got a little bit of Star Wars news this past week. We got our first look at the next Star Wars Disney Plus series, Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Now, this is one that we come out at Comic-Con?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, that just came out in the days following Comic-Con.
Weird.
Yeah, wild.
So, yeah, since I was gone for the entire week, everything was just like a weird amalgam of, I thought everything came out at Comic-Con. So... Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems like a weird drop, especially with
there was
D23 coming up.
Well, yeah, there's no Lucasfilm presence at Comic-Con. My guess is that we got this little bit of information about Skeleton Crew and that we will get more at D23. Yeah. That's my guess. Maybe trailer or teaser or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Or the cast will be there. We will see. D23 also happening this weekend, August 9th and 10th, I believe. It's just those 2 days, Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
Friday and Saturday. Right. I could be wrong. D23 is the Disney convention. It was rumored that Lucasfilm would have a presence there. That was confirmed this week. There will be a Lucasfilm panel as well as a Marvel panel. I remember hearing from somewhere that the Marvel panel is going to focus more on the television side of things. We might get a little bit of movie stuff, but San Diego Comic-Con was more movie focused, and that D23 will be more show focused. So maybe we'll get like a Wonder Man update, or I don't know, Ironheart or Agatha. Who knows?
Maybe they'll just announce that they're canning the entire slate of TV.
Yeah, gotta wonder. Gotta wonder. And, hopefully Lucasfilm, we get a little more info on some film stuff, I would hope. But I think we're definitely going to get a little bit more from Skeleton Crew, which we got this week. This is a series created by John Watts, director of the Spider-Man Home trilogy. Created by John Watts and Christopher Ford. It's going to debut December 3rd of this year. So that means holiday time Star Wars is back, people. Something I'm very fond of. So that'll be great. It stars Jude Law as a guy named Jod Nawood. Jod Nawood. Also, an ensemble of child actors, including Ryan Kiera Armstrong, Robert Timothy Smith, Ravi Cabot-Converse, and Kiera Kratner. It also features Nick Frost as the voice of a new droid SM-33. The synopsis of this show, officially, is when 4 kids make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, they get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy. Finding their way home, meeting unlikely allies and enemies will be a greater adventure than they ever imagined. That's more or less what we knew. We knew it was about kids getting lost and trying to get home.
With a Jedi to guide them and a droid named Smee.
Smee. Oh, man. I never thought of that.
Are we doing Peter Pan in space?
Is Jude Law playing a Jedi? Do we know that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Confirm that he is a Jedi.
Wow. Yeah. So they talk about finding like a mysterious ship that the ship is part of the mystery and the ship is part of the reason that they get lost, like they get stuck on it and it takes off or something with them on it. So if if the droid's SM-33, is that really supposed to be Smee? Are we going to get a Captain Hook analog? Star Wars loves having one-handed characters or one-limbed characters.
More talk about a one-handed character later in this podcast.
Sure. I didn't think about that, Steve, but that's an interesting parallel to draw, one that I will definitely be keeping watch out for. Steve, did you get a look at these pictures that they released? They released 4 or 5 images from the series as well. One of the kids is a baby Max Rebo.
Yeah, he's an Ortolan.
Ortolan.
Yep.
Yeah, like the blue elephant looking
which is
keyboard
funny
player.
because in Legends they didn't have legs.
Interesting.
So
Now
either they now lose legs or they do in canon now.
Well, did we see this character having legs in that picture?
He's
I think we just see
standing
him
up.
from like the torso up.
Yeah, true.
Maybe he's floating. Maybe he's on one of those floating Yoda chairs.
Yeah, could be. Could
be.
But Max Rebo historically did not have legs, although I think that's been retconned.
True.
So
okay.
Yeah, no.
Well,
that's gonna be this show's Baby Yoda, effectively.
Yep.
The Grogu effect will be in high.
Yeah,
high
the
gear.
Basil.
Yep.
The Baby Yoda. The Wicket.
Mm-hmm.
I love a cute little Star Wars guy, though. Babu Frick, perfect example of a cute little Star Wars guy. They're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of it for me at this point. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see more from this show. Like it's always been described as like more of like Spielbergy Amblin style show, and I'm certainly down for that. It makes perfect sense to be doing in Star Wars, I think. Hopefully John Watts has pulled it off. Jude Law's great, so I don't know. Right, so far there's nothing for me to hate about this show or to be even remotely suspicious of. Everything about this sounds great so far.
Right.
So,
and Star Wars is for kids, so
a lot
more
of the
kids shows. Like
Yeah.
even if this isn't a kids show, quote unquote, a show focused on kids is perfect.
It is perfect, and it's never really been done before in Star Wars. So,
we won't talk about those 80s movies.
Oh, sorry.
Ewoks and droids and
never mind.
What
it's
was
definitely
that?
been done before.
Yeah, there's
2 Ewok movies.
There was the live action whatever.
Are you still talking about Ewok movies?
Yeah. I can't remember
There's 2, isn't there? There's like Battle for Endor and Trail of
Yep.
Peace or something or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah, I know I saw one of them at least.
Those were movies.
I was desperate to see Battle for Endor. I was like, it's more Star Wars. I need to see this. It was more Star Wars. My parents were like, it's not going to be
what you think. Isn't what you think it is.
Like, I don't care. It's more Star Wars. I need to see it. And then I remember thinking it was bad even when I was a kid.
Caravan of Courage.
Caravan of Courage, Trail of Peace, whatever I said. Not quite. Caravan of Courage. I don't know which is a better title. Neither.
Although Warwick Davis is cashing those checks, baby.
That's true. But those movies aren't considered canon anymore.
Nope.
So this will be the first new canon Star Wars thing that will be focused on kids as main characters. So
are those movies on Disney Plus?
I believe that they are. They're in like a little corner of the Star Wars thing that was like, I think it's either it references that they're not canon somehow and what their title is. It could be like non-canon storytelling or legendary stories or something like that, and that's where like the Getty Tartakovsky Clone Wars is and stuff like that.
And the Ewoks and droids cartoon shows.
Yep.
I tried to watch the Ewoks cartoon shows with Sebastian and no.
I didn't even try. I was like, I don't think he's seen Clone Wars. Like, I don't think this is going to hold up at all. He's been spoiled. Yep. Steve, what Star Wars thing would you love to hear about at D23 if they or to announce something or give you specificity on something?
Movie or TV or anything?
Anything. Any Star Wars thing.
I mean,
Pausing for a sneeze. Bless you. Bless you, Steve Holler. Bless you. Is he a multiple sneezer? Is it coming
I'm
again?
usually a two banger.
Oh, he's
Yep.
two. He's still fighting it.
Dawn of the Jedi is my answer.
Dawn of the Jedi, the James Mangold film.
Yes.
I would love an update on any of the movies. I'll even take on a Mandalorian 100%. And Grogu update.
I would love them to update Mandalorian and Grogu with a new title.
That would be great.
Lando, I know we've heard there was a lot this week on like what went down there, and that the guy who was writing it didn't want to get taken off of it, but now it's a movie, and now it's a movie, and now it's the Glover brothers writing it. So
yeah, we've known that for a little bit. So hopefully, I would love a Lando update. That's a project I'm very excited about.
And Sean Levy now has his movie too.
That's true.
He's got nothing but time.
That's true. Deadpool Wolverine is out and done. Maybe we'll get an announcement on what that is. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Speaking of things that are cool, something we've been talking about for years and now is finally available to watch. This isn't really a story as much as it is just like talking about something that's cool. Batman Caped Crusader has debuted on Amazon Prime. First season is 10 episodes, and it rules. Multiverse Report listeners, I have not watched all 10 episodes. I'm on maybe 5 or 6, I think I've gotten
I'm on like
through.
4.
Man, it is great. Do you agree, Steve?
They were able to successfully do the X-Men 97 thing where it feels like not necessarily a continuation, but 100% a spiritual successor to the animated series.
Yeah, I would describe, in comparing it to X-Men, it's hard not to compare it to X-Men 97.
Yeah.
But the way you compare it, I think, favorably is that both shows are like, hey, here's this thing that you saw when you were a kid. Now, years later, here's like a slightly more grown-up adult version of that thing. And we're going to execute it in a way that feels like the thing that you remember from being a kid. Both those shows are doing this excellently. The difference being that X-Men 97 is a direct sequel.
Correct.
Same characters, same interpretations of those characters, same voice actors in a lot of situations, and carrying on threads from that show where apparently, read this week, Bruce Timm was originally asked to make more episodes of Batman the Animated Series. And he thought, no, we'd done that. I wasn't interested in revisiting that world, was the quote that he said. And apparently he was working on a Justice League show for a while, and then landed on this 1930s take of like a early days Batman. But so it's not a continuation. It's a reinvention of the character. It's a new story set in a new world with new interpretations of characters. But the style, the feel, the mood of it is so much Batman the Animated Series. It really brings me back to how I felt when I was a kid watching episodes of the animated series. It's super noir, super detective-y. Like I was thinking about showing it to my son, and it's not like it's not bloody. It's not like they don't swear or anything, but like the plots are just like a little too adulty, and not in any kind of scandalous way, just in a way that's like there's a lot of talking and there's a lot of like bad business deals and stuff, like and there are a lot of episodes that start really grounded and talky noir stuff, and then by the end there's a giant laser on a ship that's blown up, but like something super comic booky happens in like the third act or whatever, which I really like. It's really cool because it sucks you in with the more adult storytelling, and then hits you with a giant purple Catmobile at the end of the episode. You know what I mean? Like it's really great. So yeah, it's in its own way, it's doing what X-Men 97 did for the X-Men animated series, for Batman the Animated Series. And I am a big fan of it. I can't wait to finish it. I'm really enjoying the radical new interpretations of certain characters, Clayface, Penguin. Yeah. I don't know if you've gotten to Harley yet, but
I haven't gotten to Harley yet.
Awesome.
The really the gender bent Penguin, and like that take on it. Who's the voice actor on that? Because it's someone famous.
Minnie Driver.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild that they got Minnie Driver for a to play Oswalda Cobblepot. Like,
yeah,
what?
So cool though.
Yeah,
so good.
awesome.
So good.
And
so that
she
is
does not
streaming
take
right
shit from
now.
anyone.
Yeah, that is streaming right now on Amazon Prime, all 10 episodes. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Well, Warner Brothers must be really mad that they gave this away to Amazon Prime," and I don't think David Zaslav cares enough about anything to care about a decision that he's made in the past. I think he makes a decision and then doesn't think about it ever again for the rest of his life.
That tracks.
So if he was paying attention, he might be like, maybe we should have kept that one. But too late. You didn't. And either way, I get to watch it. So hooray. Check out Batman Caped Crusader. Small Marvel thing. Oh, the other DC thing, it's not really a story, but I want to mention James Gunn posted Superman has officially wrapped filming. They are done with principal photography and will spend the next few months in post-production. Less than a year so that movie comes out. Very excited about that. Speaking of movies, Marvel has scheduled 2 new and so far untitled films for 2027. Now we know we're getting a handful of movies from them in 2025. There's a couple on the schedule for 2026. One of those being Avengers Doomsday. We'll talk about momentarily. And then in May 2027 is Avengers Secret Wars. And now they have booked both July 23rd and November 5th, 2027 with additional films, which seems quick for me, coming on the heels of Avengers Secret Wars, assuming that Avengers Secret Wars is going to be some big, shift. A lot of times an Avengers movie causes an uproar or like a big punctuation on an event or storylines or something like that. And it seems like if that's coming out in May and then bam, you get another one in July, it seems like it's going to be too much too soon. I don't know.
Well, isn't that what they did with Far From Home?
Yeah. And I think it cut the feet off of Far From Home. Probably. In my opinion, because Far From Home became the movie that was shackled with explaining the fallout from Avengers Endgame.
Well, and that's they've kind of done that with each of them. Of like, there's I guess that's the only real.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Oh. I mean,
anyway,
it's 2027. I'm not holding anybody's feet to the fire on those dates, anyways.
Yeah, for sure. Do we think one of these is an X-Men movie?
I think if they're going to put something out in July, it's going to have to be something that's completely out of the box of what's been going on at Marvel. So possibly, but also I don't think you drop, like, maybe that November date is X-Men, but you definitely don't drop it right after Secret Wars to go. Like, you're pulling a solo with that if you drop Secret Wars in May and then X-Men in July.
But that's kind of why I think it might be X-Men for July, because X-Men is like a big name. That is like a summer blockbuster release. An X-Men.
But you've already got Secret Wars as your summer blockbuster.
Hey, I know. I know. I'm not the one that set that. I wouldn't have chosen that date, but my guess is that if one of these is an X-Men movie, it's the July one over the November date.
Okay.
But maybe never X-Men movie, because we don't know what's going to happen in Doomsday. We don't know what's going to happen in Secret War. Whatever the plots of those movies are may perfectly set up an X-Men movie for July 23rd, or whatever that is might set up, whatever movie that is. And it might make perfect sense that it's coming out so soon after.
It could.
Avengers Secret Wars. Because it's not always, it's only like phase 1 ended with the Avengers, and phase 3, like Far From Home was like the denouement of phase 3 or whatever. That's not phase 4. That's Endgame should have been the ending of phase 3, just unequivocally. Should have been the ending of phase 3. It's wild that it wasn't. But it's not like Avengers Age of Ultron wasn't the end of phase 2. So it's
no, Ant-Man was the end of phase 2.
Right. Yeah. So, and even like Infinity War came before the end of a phase. So, it's not like an Avengers movie has to be the punctuation at the end of a phase. So it's not like Secret Wars necessarily has to be some world ending or changing or finalization to any storylines. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just open a whole nother box of stories to tell. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, so right now, as far as what is currently announced, we've got Brave New World,
Thunderbolts.
We've got Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yeah, and Thunderbolts asterisk is the end of Phase 5, I believe.
Yes.
And then Fantastic Four
is the start of 6.
Starts. Yeah.
And then technically it's Blade in November,
Maybe.
which
big question mark.
Blade somewhere in there. And then Doomsday and Secret Wars are the only other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Wesley did say he's the only Blade that ever was, so.
That's right. He did say that. So I guess we'll see what these are. We'll see what shakes out. Speaking of Fantastic Four, little thing that I forgot to mention in my San Diego Comic-Con update is that they announced a title edition for Fantastic Four. It's not just called Fantastic Four, it's called Fantastic Four: First Steps. That is a movie that is now filming. They also came out this week and clarified that it is not an origin story, which I think is good. Steve, what do you think of the film being called Fantastic Four: First Steps?
Sure.
Big shrug from Steve. And yeah, I agree. I feel like that's not like an exciting title.
It's not edition. Doomsday. Like,
yeah.
Until you, like, for one, First Steps and then Galactus is the main villain? What?
I know. I don't really get.
And they said it wasn't they said it wasn't a origin story too, right?
It's not an origin story.
So where does First Steps come in? Like, how does that make sense if it's not an origin story?
Are they introducing Franklin as a baby and he'll be taking his first steps? That seems pretty dumb. If that's why they call a movie that. I don't know. First Steps. It's just a weird. It's not an exciting subtitle. Like, subtitles are supposed to be like interesting, I guess. You know, it's not interesting to me.
No.
First Steps. I don't know. It's not even anything you can really theorize about because it is so vague. Who cares? I don't know. I'm not into that really.
Yeah, until we figure something out, until they release more or we know more, it's a big old nothing burger. Yeah,
I agree. I also am still speaking of movie dates. I am not convinced that this won't move. Its date. Again, like I just mentioned, Superman has finished filming. Fantastic Four just started filming last week, and they're coming out within 2 weeks of each other in July of 2025. So we know Marvel likes to put a lot of pressure on their VFX houses. It seems like Fantastic Four is going to be dealing with that for sure if they don't move their date. But
whoa, hold on. You're telling me a main cast of a dude that stretches, another dude that sets on fire, another one that's invisible, and a guy made of rock fighting a giant intergalactic being is going to be VFX heavy?
It might be. It might be, unless they're going back to those the Roger Corman version of the Fantastic Four practical effects. Who knows? I no, but I think they came out and said that the Thing is going to be CGI.
Yeah.
And
although Ben Grimm in a 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style suit would be killer.
That's kind of what they did with the first two Fantastic Four, and I didn't hate it. No. I didn't hate it. I kind of liked that it was practical. Yeah, it was cool. It worked. So interesting. We'll see how that movie shakes out and if it ends up keeping its July 25 date.
I do like that they confirmed it's set in the 60s.
Yes. Yep.
We don't know what universe, but it's set in the 1960s.
True. Could be mainline Marvel MCU. Could be something else. It is called the Multiverse Saga.
I have a 99% chance that they're not on 616 or whatever the MCU.
I don't think we're 616, but yeah, we're not in MCU. And why do you think that, Steve?
Because other people would have heard of the Fantastic Four, maybe,
or they might have noticed that their arch nemesis looks exactly like Tony Stark.
Weird. There is that.
So here we go. I am Steve. Did you listen to the solo episode that I did?
I did.
Okay, good. So you know my opinions on this. I didn't know if I needed to recap them for you. Steve, I am dying to know, because you and I have not talked about this.
No, we have not.
Crazily, we have not talked about this off mic. So for the first time, I'm about to hear your thoughts on Marvel announcing the return of Robert Downey Jr. to the MCU, not as Tony Stark, but now we know that he will be playing Victor Von Doom, likely in Fantastic Four, definitely in Avengers Doomsday. Steve, what do you think of the return of Robert Downey Jr.?
Okay.
Ooh.
Not
honesty, excited at all.
Not really.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me, really. Like, I don't know what needle it's supposed to move, but, like, for one, you've made it a point through this whole damn thing of not recasting people that have been, played a role. For two, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. I get, okay, sure. Are you going to do some weird modified, like, what was it, Demon in the Armor? Like the what if that they did that was like Tony and Victor switching bodies and some whole weird ass whatever. Are you going to do something like that and then bring that into the quote unquote 616 and then have it all get blown up in Secret Wars and who the hell knows? But like, why are we riding this trick pony again?
Yeah.
When there's a lot of other very, very good actors that could play Victor Von Doom.
Mm-hmm.
So much like many, many things we talk about, if they pull it off and they have a reason that they cast Tony Stark as Victor Von Doom.
Love how you said it, by the way.
Like
they cast Tony Stark.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, did he make a magic mask in a cave with spare parts? Like, what are we doing? Why are we rehashing this?
I mean, it's kind of like what I said last week, is that I think, because I was just all over the place last week when I was talking about it, because it had just been announced.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to think of it. I was like, he's a great actor. If he hadn't played Tony Stark, I would have no problem with him being Doctor Doom. He'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Casting.
100%.
He's a great actor. He's an Oscar-winning actor.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. He can do anything. But I've come down, I think in the past week, I've come down more on the negative side of it, where it just seems desperate to me. It seems like Marvel needing people to be excited about their stuff, inherently excited about stuff again. And the last time people was when Robert Downey Jr. was in charge. And so let's get that guy back. I just don't think he's too important of a face as Tony Stark in the MCU to play another role, I think. And like you said, if they have a reason that he looks like Tony, then great. But it's going to be too distracting, I think. Unless he keeps his mask on the whole time, which I don't think they're going to do.
You don't pay Tony. You don't pay Robert Downey Jr. money.
Pay Robert Downey Jr. Yep.
To not show his face.
Not show his face, exactly. And like, he's not going to have a goatee. He's going to look different. Sure, there'll be different makeup or whatever, but it's still going to be him. And I think it's just going to be
like, no matter what. And that's one thing with Robert Downey Jr. He never does well at masking his voice. If he's in a role, it's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. He was doing a bit of an accent in Oppenheimer. Still sounded like him,
Right. I still picked it up like that.
Yeah, and like the line delivery for Tony is pretty specific, and he won't be doing that, obviously, but it's just too, like, he's just too important of a character. I think it's like a cheat. And I don't think I
and it
like
might
it.
be
I don't think I like it.
because
I think he'll be great, but I don't think I like it.
Right. Brian brought something up in the chat that all of his non-comic reading friends who stopped watching the movies after Endgame are all hyped now because he's back. Now, is that the play?
The character you
right? Like, is that the
Love
play
that.
right here? Like, is that what they're doing? Is to try and get the rest of the butts in seats? Because there's just make a goddamn good movie.
Yeah, I know.
You made one last weekend.
Yeah.
And it's grossed $800+ million already.
Yeah, it's going to be the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Yeah, 100%. It's gonna be the highest grossing movie this year, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. Inside Out 2's.
Inside Out 2's at 1.2 and
doors off.
slowing down at 1.2. So.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a strange choice. It's such a strange choice to bring him back. Like, I remember Ben Mendelsohn was talking about how he would love to play Doctor Doom. He was a big fan of the character, and like I would love to play Doctor Doom. I would love it. He was saying that in an interview. And yeah, Ben Mendelsohn played a Skrull in Captain Marvel and Secret Invasion and stuff. But like, if Ben Mendelsohn came back to play Doctor Doom, I would forgive that. It would be easier for me to be like, oh yeah, it's fine. It's just the same actor. It's a different guy or whatever.
Right. But the entire face of your franchise?
Yeah, exactly. I think I said that last week. He is the face of the MCU in many ways. They built it on his back.
Yeah.
It's just so strange. It's just so strange.
No, Strange is a different character. Different doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like, you know what? It would have been a cool reveal if they revealed that it looked like Tony in like the third act of Doomsday or Secret War. You know what I mean? Like,
or even at the
what
end
an
of,
insane,
even at the end of Fantastic Four. Like, make that be your stinger.
What an insane theater experience that would be if we didn't know that Doctor Doom was being played by Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. We would lose our minds in the theater. That would have been great.
Right, because
but they clearly have a plan.
With a vocoder, a Vader effect.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But like you said, I hope they have a plan. I hope they know what they're doing. And we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Steve, do you have a comic to review this week?
No.
Hey, neither do I.
Cool.
I didn't make it down to Funky Town.
I did.
At all.
I got a whole pile of them. I just didn't read any.
Ah, all right. Well,
I was like,
making it down this week.
Yeah, so I got home and found out I had COVID, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have a lot of spare time. Lo and behold, I ended up working the rest of the week, so I didn't have a ton of spare time. But yeah, I was like, all right, Jesse, can you put the books outside and I'll just come pick them up? So I was out running errands. Like I had to go and like pick up a script at the drive-thru at Walgreens and a bunch of random non-contact things that I could do. And I was like, all right, you put them outside and I'll find a way to pay you. I'm like,
slide my card under the door or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he's like, just pay me next week. Like, know exactly what you picked up. Like, it's on your pull list. So
nice.
Another nice gesture. He's a jester too. He's a
very nice jester.
Yes. Now we need to get him a hat.
Gesture from a jester. Well, for those of you that are interested in buying comics this week, you may find the following titles at your local comic book store, including Funky Town Comics, Absolute Power #2, Avengers 17, Batman #151, Birds of Prey #12, Blue Beetle #11, Daredevil #12, The Deviant #7, Doctor Strange #18, Garfield #1, Gotham City Sirens. What's that? You into Garfield?
No, but I'm sure that'll go on my kids' pull list.
Has there ever been a Garfield comic book? I know it's been Garfield like collected books of newspaper strips, but like, has there been a comic book of Garfield ever?
I don't ever remember one.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
That's shocking. Garfield's face was on everything forever. Anyway,
along with
very
Taz.
excited about. With what?
Along with Taz and like all the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that big like, Looney Tunes resurgence in the mid '90s. Yeah. Wild.
They were everywhere.
That was crazy. It's very strange.
Yeah. Space Jam. Space Jam became a thing because of that.
Yes. Yeah. It's not the other way around. It would make sense if it was the other way around. They made a popular movie and then the resurgence of Looney Tunes happened then. No. People just started loving Looney Tunes again, and then they made a bad Looney Tunes movie with Michael Jordan. Yeah. Sorry, Space Jam fans. That movie blows.
Oh, it was amazing when I was a kid. I was oh, this is the best thing ever. And then it's like, objectively, this is a bad movie.
Very, very bad.
I'm very excited about. I did read a comic, so I'll talk about that later.
Oh, all right. Cool. I am very excited about the new Gotham City Sirens, number 1. We got Gun Honey Collision Course 4, Incredible Hulk, number 15, Kneel Before Zod, number 8, Pedestrian, number 1, Shazam, number 14, Space Ghost, number 4, Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood, number 1. That should be cool. Star Wars Inquisitors, number 2, The Boy Wonder, number 4, Spectacular Spider-Man, number 6, Ultimate Black Panther, number 7, Uncanny X-Men, number 1, Venom War, number 1, and Wolverine Deep Cut, number 2. Yeah. This is a pretty big week for me, comic book wise, I think.
Especially since you're dipping into the Marvelverse.
Yeah, hell yeah. Picking up that Uncanny X-Men number 1 for sure.
All it took was the queen herself, Gail Simone, to do it for you.
Simone. Oh, baby, yes.
I'm curious about
I might get that Gotham
Black
City
Suit and
Sirens
Blood.
too. Yo, me too. I know. It's like, you know, they usually do the Black, Red, and Blood or Black, White, and Blood series.
Black, White, and Red. Yeah.
For characters like the Punisher or Alien or
Darth Maul or
Darth Maul, exactly. Darth Vader had one.
Yep.
And they've done stuff on the DC side too, but like
Spidey.
It's you can't do it for Spider-Man, but you can do it for Black Suit Spider-Man. So I think that is a cool way to get some kind of darker R-rated Spider-Man stuff. So I'll definitely think I'll be checking that out.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah. What about you, bud?
Definitely Uncanny X-Men, because that's going to be ungodly good. I fell off Spectacular Spider-Man after 2, mostly because I missed like 3 and 4, and then 5 showed up, and I'm like, well, can't read that. That was actually pretty good.
It was, yeah. I liked it a lot when I was reading it.
The Hulk 15, I'm curious where that's going or how long that's going to keep going on, but it's still solid.
Still good? Yeah.
Yeah, no. Relatively light. Well, I feel like that's always like if DC has a big week, Marvel has a light week. So it's usually your big weeks or my light weeks.
Yeah. I only have 3 books on my pull list, like I've said, and they all come out the same
this week.
So
yeah.
Actually, no, there's no Poison Ivy this week, is there?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh, things are getting screwed up.
Oh boy.
Damn it. I'm gonna have to go. You have to go to Funky Town more often. Come on. I only love that place. But yeah, I'll be getting Birds of Prey and The Boy Wonder. Definitely Uncanny X-Men, possibly Spider-Man, possibly Gotham City Siren. We will see. We will see. Now, Steve, you scooted over to the other side of your room and grabbed something off of a shelf. Do you have something to share with the entire class?
It's out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Number 1.
Number 1.
So this is the relaunch with Jason Aaron writing. This issue focuses on Raph. So the first 4 issues of the book are going to each focus on one of the turtles that went their own way.
Cool.
I'd assume how they're finding their way back together.
Yeah.
Joelle Jones did the art on this. Rhonda Pattinson on the...
no, she's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can see right off the bat, it's not what you'd expect out of a Turtles book.
Oh, wow. Because Raphael is in jail.
Yes. So, great art, great action, awesome spread pages. Like, there's a whole lot,
that is cool. What a
lot
layout.
going on that layout on the splash.
Yeah.
But overall, a good start to the story, something that kind of gets you interested again. It's talking about the rise of the foot again and some other things that are turtle staples, but it seems like it might have a different feel, might have a different direction. Overall, real good, and would highly recommend grabbing. There's like 75,000 different variants of this.
Yeah. And Funky Town has every single one of them.
They have a bunch of them. They have a killer. I did end up. I'm a sucker for a variant, and grabbed the 1 in 25 for it. That was actually it's Raph jumping through the like New York City rooftops.
Cool.
Really cool cover. Funky Town though for I believe Turtles 2, the Mikey one. Is that the one that they're doing with Matt?
Oh, is that one? Matt Flint is doing a cover, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let me look to make sure.
Local artist Matt Flint doing a specific Funky Town Comics cover.
Retro Game Turtles. Yep. So it is for Retro Game Con, October 11th, 12th, and 13th here in Syracuse, New York. Matt is doing a exclusive cover, variant cover of number 2, which is an awesome look at the cover itself is Mikey playing video games on what looks to be a recreation of some retro console that is very indeterminate, most likely due to various legal reasons. But him eating pizza and chips, sitting on a couch playing video games, which is great.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
It's in the standard style of one Matt Flint, who if you have not seen his art, go check it out. The Art of Matt Flint, friend of the pod. He's not in the chat today.
Friend of the pod and current collaborator with me on an upcoming comic that will hopefully be at Kickstarter by the end of the year.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I'm definitely like, I'll tease this a little bit. I'm not gonna give too much away, but I'm a fan of Matt Flint's art, which is why I asked him to draw this comic for me. I've seen a lot of his work, and I love a lot of his work. But honestly, the pages he has sent me so far, I believe it to be the best work I've ever seen him do, ever. It's outstanding. Outstanding stuff he's sending me.
Yeah, the couple you showed me.
Every time I get a little notification that he's sending me something, like, ooh, I can't wait to see it. And it knocks me out.
The couple you've shown me have been ridiculous, and those were like some of the early ones. So
yeah,
I can't imagine what the new stuff looks like.
He's really killing it. Really, really killing it. Speaking of killing things, we're going to do a spoiler review of Deadpool and Wolverine. A movie in which a lot of things get killed, or
no, nothing died in that movie at all.
Nothing died.
It didn't blatantly earn its rated R tag.
Yeah,
multiple times over.
Real quick, I said this last week. I gave a bit of a if you want to hear my non-spoiler thoughts, you can listen to last week's solo episode, where I give my non-spoiler review of the film. But I will say, this is a non-spoiler as well, I will say I did have some negative feelings about the movie, but the more I have thought about it in the week that I have seen it, the more I've thought about it, the more I like it, and the more I want to see it again. So I think my opinion is maybe raised a little bit. Now, I may watch it again, and I may be like, oh, no, I was right the first time. But who cares? And I liked it a lot the first time, so it's not like I'm super down on it. And I did mention, I think in my review, why. I don't think I mentioned why, but I said I was nervous that I was going to think of this movie the way I think of No Way Home, which is like an overly sweaty, bending over backwards to justify itself movie. That's my opinion of that film. But I did not feel that way about Deadpool and Wolverine. I know exactly why, but it's spoiler, but I will talk about it when we get to the spoiler territory, which we're about to do now. So if you don't want to hear spoilers about Deadpool and Wolverine, say goodbye. Bye, get out of here.
This will be your, well, no, this isn't quite yet. If you're leaving now before that, make sure to check us out on all your social platforms, the Multiverse Report. Like, subscribe, leave a review, do all the things. Feel free to check us out on your podcatcher of choice. If you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, we will still eat whatever you put in there as a recipe within reason. We're going to keep that going until somebody does it.
So someone does it.
Brian, looking at you. Beyond that, I feel like that covers it. Find us wherever you find us. The Multiverse Report. Use Google. It's a search engine.
Google us. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We say this all the time. We always end the episode by saying, give us a 5-star review and a recipe. But how often do we check if someone actually did that? Because on June 24th,
oh Jesus,
somebody named Nudie Nolan gave us a 5-star review and a recipe for Neapolitan cookies.
Looks like we got some bacon to do, my friend.
So we got some bacon to do. This seems very complicated. There is a lot of steps. There is a lot of ingredients and a lot of steps. So,
well, thank you for putting that in there.
Thank you. Thanks, Nudie. I guess in an upcoming episode, we will be eating Neapolitan cookies.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how they come out. I might be able to take this on as a challenge.
All right.
This is like making your own dough. Set the dough aside. This seems like oh man, now I regret it.
I'll have to take a look at it.
Okay. I was just, as you were saying, I was like, I haven't actually checked in a while to see if anyone sent us a review. I should check. Oh, hey, okay.
Oh,
we got
found
one. We got one. Ghostbuster. All right.
Yeah.
So now here is your favorite, your friendly neighborhood spoiler alert. We're going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. We're going to spoil a lot of the stuff. And if you've seen this movie, you know there is a lot to spoil. So stop listening if you don't want to learn anything about Deadpool and Wolverine, starting now. Steve, I texted you this as you were texting me, your thoughts on the film. There were maybe about 10, 20 minutes into this movie, I knew that you were going to love it. And I said, this is going to blow Steve's mind. He's going to love this. And then as soon as I thought that, there was like 3 more things in a row that happened that I was like, yep, Steve's going to love this. Yep, Steve's going to love this. Holy shit, Steve's going to love this. So did you love it? What did you think? What's your opinion on Deadpool and Wolverine?
I did. It was, I think I articulated it to you by saying this was the Wolverine version of No Way Home for me, but not shitty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like and this is coming from someone who very much enjoyed No Way Home the first time I saw it.
Right.
And then I realized that there's no chance that it's going to hold up to a second viewing. Now this, I also still worry about like 5 years down the line, or with people that are coming to this without knowing the history behind it, or without knowing the 20th Century Fox stuff, or like by the time our sons are able to watch this movie, it's going to be
exactly
lost.
what I said. That's exactly what I said last week. There's the shelf life of the humor in this movie is very short.
Right.
Very short.
Now, it hitting its beats, A+.
Yeah.
Like for the time, nailed it.
I get all the jokes.
Right.
So I'm gonna like it. Sure. I get why they're doing all these things. The other thing, like, who knows? Like one of the big things at the end of this movie is Hugh Jackman putting the mask on for the first time.
Yes.
Which is incredible because we've never seen that. But, who knows how many X-Men movies they're going to make in the next couple of years or whatever, where he is wearing that mask. And so someone that watches this movie 10 years from now might be like, why are they spending so much time on him pulling that mask down? Like, who cares? He wears it,
Like he's always in that.
That's what Wolverine looks like. What are you talking about? Yeah. Why is this a big thing? It's just not going to work as well. And even like I said last week too, that even some of the Disney versus Fox jokes seemed dated to me because that happened so long ago in our timeline, like so long ago.
Yeah.
And the stuff about like, spoiler alert, Channing Tatum as Gambit. Like, how many people know that he was trying to make that movie? Like, that was like so niche. Like, you and me got that joke.
Oh, as soon as he showed up, I was laughing my ass off.
Oh, it was great. It was great. But like, who else that besides people that host nerdy news podcasts,
right? And or those people who listen to them, and that's about it.
Yeah, right. Know that they were trying to make a Gambit movie with Channing Tatum for years and years. So stuff like that, it's not going to hold up very well.
Well, and that whole sequence, it was like, okay, Elektra, sure. Didn't we know that already? And then it was like, Snipes comes out of nowhere. And it's like, holy shit.
No idea. Yeah, they confirmed Jennifer Garner. They had confirmed Jennifer Garner.
And then, like, Tatum walks through the door, and I'm like, what the? Really?
I was like, who's going to be? After it was Wesley Snipes walked out, I was like, I have no idea who this person is going to be. Zero. And I didn't expect Channing Tatum. What I was really shocked that they didn't give us like an X-Men team. There was no Scott and Jean and like Halle Berry wasn't back, or Famke Janssen, or James Marsden. Like I thought for sure we were gonna get those three at least.
Right.
But I guess they thought that was probably low hanging fruit and that had been done before. You know,
Literally,
like we've seen X-Men
in the
movies.
prior movie.
Yeah. So, well, in Days of Future Past, you mean at the end?
No,
when they come back.
The Deadpool movie where they're in the they're walking through the X-Mansion.
But it's not those actors though. It's like the first class team.
Yeah, it's first class.
It's like
team.
the other. Yeah. Like I wanted like James Marsden and Famke Janssen, and I wanted that OG team. And it's I'm not mad that they didn't do that. I'm just surprised they didn't do it. But it's probably better. It's more surprising to bring in Elektra and Blade and Gambit and Laura. You know, like that's a cooler and more unexpected team for sure. Anyway.
Yeah, Laura pulling the during her Acolyte stuff when asked multiple times whether she was in this movie. No, absolutely not.
No, I'm not in it.
Daphne Keane shows up out of nowhere. Weird.
Yeah, it's great.
With glasses and bag.
Yeah. That being said, like some of the humor is not going to work. Some of the humor is not going to work in like 2 years. Some of it will work for a while. The action in it I thought was great. The fighting,
dude, right off
all
the
around
bat
was great.
Like the opening sequence, like Deadpool opening sequences are always killer. But like the bye was just like, I don't know why this is as hilarious as it is to me.
Yeah.
Well, beating the shit out of them with Logan's skeleton.
With the dead corpse of Logan from the movie Logan. I remember when they announced Hugh Jackman was going to be in this movie, they came out like a week or two later. They had to issue a statement saying, this movie is not going to undo what happened in Logan. Logan is a great movie. We're not going to undo anything about that.
Yeah.
To kind of calm fans down. And that's true. They don't undo Logan, but Deadpool does dig up and desecrate his corpse.
Well mentioning he's digging up and desecrating the corpse.
Yes, in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Which I understand that some people that love the movie Logan and some kind of like high art or whatever, or the character of Wolverine, you know, being upset about this. For me, so smart to do that immediately and get it right out and just like get it right out of the way, let everybody know this is what we're doing. Like, it's okay to laugh at this, because if you don't like this, then get out, leave the movie right now. Like, very smart to set that tone immediately. Like, nothing is sacred. To Deadpool, we're gonna make fun of everything, and not only am I gonna dig him up, I'm going to use his adamantium bones to murder all these TVA agents.
When he put on the claws.
Yeah.
And just skewered the two guys. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, God. That whole sequence was awesome. But, you go right from that into him realizing that, oh, shit, can't do that. Find out about anchor beings.
Well, it's a flashback then.
Oh, yeah.
To him
the rewind.
Trying to join the Avengers and get up with Vanessa. And then.
Right. And you get the Jon Favreau cameo there.
Which was pretty funny. Yep. Which was funny for sure. Yeah. And then him being taken by the TVA. Now, I have to say, before we get too far into other spoilers or whatever, for me, the reason why this movie, and I'm going to say, this movie is 90% fan service.
Oh, yeah.
I think. Like, and it's not really trying to be anything other than that. It kind of knows that it's fan service. It knows that it's like, we're going to just close the book on this X-Men Fox universe.
Yeah.
In a way that it didn't get a chance to do, which I think was great. The whole, like, the time of your life montage and the credits was like a little cheesy, but kind of great at the same time.
Perfectly cheesy.
Yeah.
Fittingly cheesy, should I say. Right.
Whereas I think No Way Home is trying to be this big epic, universe. Marvel, specifically the MC, we were trying to save the MCU, the universe that all these characters exist in and whatever. And the big difference for me with these two movies is that No Way Home has to do all these gymnastics to create a situation where villains from other universes are coming into the MCU timeline. There has to be a problem. He has to go to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange has to cast a spell. The spell has to get done wrong. They have to figure out that the spell is done wrong. then they have to collect all these villains, and the villains have to escape. And there's just this whole, like, a lot that has to go on before we get to three Spider-Man fighting villains. There's like a lot of pipe to lay. It's way easier, instead of spending so much time making it, quote unquote, make sense for these villains from other universes to come to one universe. Way easier to have Deadpool go to an unspecified void where there just happens to be all these other crazy characters. Like, there's way less explanations and way less gymnastics you have to do if it's just one person that walks through a portal and now he's in a world where all these other people exist from other universes.
Right.
And that is enough to make it make sense to me, because that's all I need to know, that he walked through a portal and now he's in a weird place, instead of, oh, these other portals are opening up and we don't have control and I had to do this and because of this, and then this thing happened and now this is happening. Now we have to do this in order to get, it's like, whoa, it's too much plot happening. There's not a whole lot of plot in this movie. The plot is they're stuck in this universe. They got to get back to this universe and stop a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And it knows that. And it's not trying to be, it's not trying to be more than fan service, whereas No Way Home is trying to be an epic, blockbuster, world-changing film while also just being 90% fan service.
Right. For what they're doing and the stakes that are relatively high, it feels very low stakes. And it doesn't try to make it feel like over the top.
Exactly, because I think the tone of it is like, this is all just a joke. We're just having fun. This is just a fun thing. We're just doing this so you can see this cool stuff, Like,
100%. Although that said, Hugh Jackman acts his ass off during this movie.
Oh my God, he's great.
Yeah,
he's great. Yeah, the scene in the car before they fight each other in the car, when Jackman's just so frustrated and just yelling at him, like, and Deadpool's like, "I'm going to fight you now," is the response. He's so good in that scene. He's good the whole time. He's good at it was maybe a little over the top when the campfire thing, when he was talking to Laura, I thought was like a little pushing it dramatically a little bit for the rest of the tone of the movie. But he's great. Everyone in it's really good. Very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone knows what kind of movie they're in.
Right. That, I guess that's the thing, is it's kind of like you said, it's not trying to be something it isn't. It knows what it is, and it's just trying to be that movie.
Yep. This is a joke delivery system.
Yes.
It's a joke and cameo and cool action sequence delivery system.
Jokes and death. That's what we're doing, and we're going to do it well.
Yep. And in that way, it excels, I think. That's the difference, is what, like, this movie knows what it is, and No Way Home is trying too hard to be more than what it should be.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't know.
I still
but
know,
enough
like
No
you
Way Home
said,
bashing.
that whole sequence at the beginning, when you quote unquote knew it was that I was gonna absolutely love it.
Oh, when he's looking for the other Logans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
it was the him hanging on the X crucified thing.
The 251
that was the
cover.
I was like, oh, Steve's gonna love this, and then it goes immediately to the brown and yellow Hulk fighting suit with the reflection of the claws thing. I was like, oh, he's gonna lose his mind at this. This is great.
Well, like that. The fact, the fact that he like even says, John, like the John Byrne black and brown and yellow.
Yeah. The classic like, John Byrne outfit. Yeah.
Okay. And then gets, you see the Hulk 340 like reflection in the claws, and it's just like they did it right.
It is such a love letter to the character of Wolverine.
It really was.
In a way that, like, the movies I've watched so many of the X-Men movies in the last few weeks, and like once they realize that Wolverine is the character that's popping and Hugh Jackman is popping, they turn the focus to him big time in a way that doesn't always work. But this is really just like loving the entire legacy of the character.
Right, not just Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but the entire
comic
Wolverine.
Yes. And having Hugh Jackman represent that legacy in a way that I thought was great.
Seeing Hugh Jackman as Patch, and seeing Hugh Jackman like as the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine, like it was just cool to see all these iterations, and then finally like take that to the Wolverine that he settles on.
Yeah.
With, classic blue and gold, and eventually the sleeves get ripped off, and then the cowl comes on, and you're like,
man, yeah.
God damn it.
They spent so long in that, like,
God damn it.
Yeah, like I said, it's all fan service. It's an entire movie made of fan service. And if you do that, and if that's what, great. And that's pretty much all I was looking for.
Yeah.
Like the slow motion reveal, like they're just standing there before the big fight at the end. And it's just, he starts slowly moving his hands towards his head. And I was like, oh, he's going to pull that mask on. This is going to be great.
Yep.
And it was. I was just like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing this. And I was like, am I gonna feel this way about this moment the second and third time I watch this movie? Probably not. It's gonna be diminishing returns every time I see it, but it's still cool. Right. I don't know. Still cool.
Yeah, that first reaction was still like, holy shit, they did the thing.
They did the thing. They finally did the thing. And like, it's like Ryan Reynolds gets to be the guy that it's like, yeah, I gave that to you first. Whatever Marvel does after this, we did it first. Which is cool for him to be able to say.
We did get to see finally Wolverine and Sabretooth for a split second.
I love how that didn't last very long at all. It was like,
do you know the callback?
That the head chopping off thing?
Yeah.
No, I guess I don't.
In Origins, I think he said something to Sabretooth about like, if we ever fight, I'm gonna cut your head off. Or, like, cut your effing head off or something. Like there was, it was definitely, I had seen somewhere that it was a callback to something he had said to Creed.
I did watch that movie recently, but I really, really hate it, so I didn't really remember anything.
It was a bad movie. It was
very bad.
Not a good movie.
It's very bad. I like that every fight wasn't like, this is gonna be the epic fight you've been waiting for or whatever. There was like a few of those, but because they like had just had a big fight between Deadpool and Wolverine, and have a huge fight again with Wolverine and Sabretooth would have been too much, but just having it be quick was great. How long was it before you realized Chris Evans was playing Johnny and not Steve?
So that was the only thing that got spoiled for me.
Oh, it got spoiled.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the only one. They did it very well. Like,
they did it very well.
Because even having it spoiled, I was like, red wrist wraps, like they're trying, and I guarantee if you didn't know that it took a bit. Yeah,
because he's wearing blue.
Yep.
And they have the red and white wrist wraps, and they play the Captain America theme when you see him from the back. And then the friend that I was with our friend Dave Pwinski. I was this close to leaning over to him and going, it'd be really funny if he was Human Torch instead of Steve Rogers. And I was about to say that, and then I realized, oh, that's what they're doing. This is just a build up, and they're gonna switch it, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah,
I did love that they paid that off even more in that post credits.
The post credit scene, yeah,
that was perfect.
I really thought the post credit scene was going to be a payoff of the "Why is Thor crying" thing, because they mentioned that a lot.
Secret Wars,
like we see it in the beginning. Yeah, I know it's going to have to be later.
Yeah,
but still,
because they can't leave him out of Secret Wars.
No, Deadpool.
Now that they've brought him in, they're
100%.
He's going to be wherever they can use him.
Exactly, he's there now.
Yep.
But he's not though, and that's the thing that surprised me about this movie, is that it was so focused on him saving his universe.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be this movie was going to be an excuse, and to get him into the main MCU timeline. At the end of this movie, their universes would, or he and Vanessa would travel to the new universe or something like that. That's not it. He's still he saved his home universe, and that's still where he is. There's no merging of universes, and maybe someone's got a spare sling ring hanging around or whatever. Like they'll go get him somehow.
Does he still have one of the little TVA tchotchkes?
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't remember how it ended really, if he still has it or not. But and I guess he knows what universe the Avengers are in, because he got interviewed to be part of them, and they just went back to his own universe, I guess. So interesting. Yeah, I thought this movie was going to be a story about how Deadpool ended up in the MCU, but it wasn't. which I liked. I was surprised by. It was like its own thing, which is fine. It's more of just a button on the Fox universe than anything else. So, dope. Anything else that you want to hit? Any other big cameos, fights, or set pieces that you wanted to talk about, dive into? We talked about the cameos. No Taylor Swift.
Nope.
I was wrong about that. No Taylor Swift. I really thought it was going to be. Just a rumor that I'm sure helped out the movie quite a bit.
Oh, 100%. And that was definitely it was in the credits as Blake Lively for Lady Pool.
Lady Deadpool, yep.
The Cassandra Nova thing. How'd that work for you?
Just her as a character?
Yeah.
I mean, going back to like we knew this movie knowing what it is. I think they explained her enough for her to be interesting and cool. Did they do a real deep dive into a backstory or give her any kind of like emotional pathos or reason to be a villain? No, she was like more of a mustache twirler. But I think that's fine considering what movie this is.
Right.
It was fine. It worked fine for me. I would love to see her, whether it's in Secret Wars or in another incarnation, another actor playing them. A deeper dive into that character at a later date would be cool. But I really like that the thing that Hugh Jackman, the exchange that Wolverine had with her, where it's like, if the professor knew you were out there, he would have done anything he could to save you. The professor that I knew, he would have come after you. I thought that was really cool. And, so stuff like that kind of does impress on her character a little bit. So I think they did enough to make her, she's a little bit more than a one-dimensional, not too complex as far as villains go, but she worked for me. You?
About the same. I think that about wraps up, like, she's such a weird character that they did as well as they could with it. For not having an entire movie to like exposition out where the hell she came from and how also actual origin story, really fucking weird,
really crazy.
So no, I get it. Like they did what they could with it, and maybe they pick it up later or they just leave it alone.
And they just like the end threat was just like a real quick, all of a sudden there's a machine and she's piloting it and she can destroy the thing and it becomes like a very comic booky kind of ending. But again, you got to know what movie you're watching,
right?
And you can enjoy it. And I thought it was great. So
100%.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else, any other points or anything I wanted to make. I definitely wanted to bring up Chris Evans' cameo. No X-Men reunion, but still fun. Do we think they made a couple jokes about Hugh Jackman doing this till he's 90? Do you think we see Hugh Jackman again? And do you think Secret Wars is going to be what people think it is, where it's just going to be Toby and Andrew and Hugh and everybody coming back?
Reports are like 60 plus people coming back. So
they are saying there's going to be 60 plus characters. Yeah. Seems crazy.
I would agree, but who knows? The mouse has got some bank.
At least we got the Russo brothers directing it, so they'll hopefully have some kind of plotted story. And I think at least Doomsday is going to be written by McFeely, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Not both of them, but one of them. So that's good. That's a point. Another point for us for Marvel. That's all I got, Steve.
Same.
I don't think I'm racking my brain. I just really liked Deadpool and Wolverine. I would like to see it again. I don't necessarily have any other things that I want to say about it other than it was great and the action is really fun and bloody and fun.
Fun and bloody? Buddy?
Yeah. 118 F-bombs I read online. 118 usages of the word fuck. And then somebody calculated that the total number of F-bombs in the entire MCU is 119. One of them in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and 118 in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, that's great. The Cavalrine. Forgot about that.
Yeah. Again, that's a thing that is going to make no sense to so many people now,
Didn't even
and
make
further no sense to people in the future. Like,
right. Well, like, it didn't make any sense to me until they started. Until Deadpool said something about like, you know, your employers
we'll
now
treat you
will
so much
treat you
better
than
than the
your old
people down the
guys or
street, or
whatever. Yeah.
Well, that people were saying that after they announced that Cavill wasn't going to be Superman anymore. People were pushing like, "Oh, he should go to Marvel. He'd be a great Wolverine." Well, you know, people were saying that. So again, fan service, but only for fans that knew about that. Which is such a weird.
Yeah.
You know, it's so niche. It's like it's so hitting the right button for a certain type of nerd, but is also at the same time broad enough that it works for a lot of non-nerdy people, I guess.
Well, and you saw that Nathan Fillion was Headpool.
Yes, and Matthew McConaughey was somebody.
He was the cowboy.
The cowboy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool.
And
very cool.
Peter being back just was great.
Yeah, Sugar Bear, good old Sugar Bear. Everyone was back too. He must have saved because Shatterstar was.
Yeah,
at his
I saw
birthday
that.
party, too.
I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
So they didn't show him saving Shatterstar, but clearly he did. It's a time thing, so why not? And with that, that's all I have to say. Do you have any other things to bring up, talk about?
No. That
Me
seems
either.
about it. I enjoyed a movie. It was a
Me
good
too.
movie.
Next time we release an episode, we will have gone to what I hope to be an incredible concert in Philadelphia. And I will have been at Trek Wars 2. And we will have D23 to talk about.
Absolutely.
So we will see what's going on there. And we'll talk to y'all next week. So, you know, like what Steve said earlier, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and follow us and share and tell your friends about us. Leave us a recipe, maybe one not quite as complex as Neapolitan cookies. But,
I looked it up. We should be okay. It's basically just make 3 different doughs for the flavors and then put them together. We should be good.
Yeah, making dough takes a long time.
No, it doesn't. I got you.
Okay, fine. Well, anyway, stay tuned for Neapolitan cookies being eaten live on the pod, because that's what everyone likes to listen to, is people chewing while they're talking into a microphone, right? People love those mouth noises. Anyway, that's all. As the 2 sunset over the burnt bodies of Owen and Brew Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.